Hey there! Welcome back to English 101. Today, I'm going to tell you all about my experience studying at university. From morning classes to late-night study sessions, it's a full day of learning, challenges, and fun. So grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's improve your English together with this story. When I first started university, I was both excited and nervous. I remember walking through the gates of the campus for the very first time. The sun was shining, and the place was buzzing with students going to their classes. Everything felt big and new. I had my schedule in one hand and my student ID card in the other. My heart was beating fast, not because I was scared, but because everything felt like the beginning of something important. My first class started at 8 a.m. It was Introduction to Psychology, one of my favorite subjects. I walked into the lecture hall and looked around. There were more than 100 students sitting quietly, waiting for the professor to arrive. I found a seat near the front, hoping to focus better. The professor walked in and started talking immediately. He had a calm voice and used simple examples, which helped me understand the concepts. After the first class, I had a short break. I went to the student cafe and got a cup of coffee and a muffin. There were students sitting at tables, chatting and laughing. I sat down at a small table and looked over my notes. Suddenly, a girl came up and asked if she could sit with me. Her name was Emily, and she was also new. We talked about our classes and found out we had 2 more classes together that day. It felt nice to make a new friend so early. Next, we had a seminar for English literature. The classroom was smaller, and the professor encouraged us to talk and share our opinions. I loved this part, because I enjoy reading and discussing stories. We talked about a short story and had to describe the main character's feelings. It was a bit challenging, but I tried my best. Emily gave some great answers, and I added my thoughts too. It felt like we were really learning through discussion. At noon, it was time for lunch. The university had a big cafeteria with many food options. I chose a chicken sandwich, a salad, and a bottle of water. Emily and I sat with a few other students who were also in our psychology class. Everyone was friendly and talked about how their morning classes went. Some were confused by the lessons, while others were already planning study groups. I felt comforted knowing that others also found things a bit difficult. In the afternoon, I had a lab session for biology. This was completely new for me. We had to wear white coats and follow instructions carefully. We were studying cells under a microscope, and I was amazed at how something so tiny could look so complex. My lab partner was a guy named Jason. He was smart, but very quiet. We worked together well and finished our tasks on time. After the lab, I had about an hour free before my last class. I decided to go to the library. It was a quiet and peaceful place with huge shelves full of books. I found a seat by the window and started reading the psychology textbook. There was a soft hum of silence, broken only by the sound of turning pages. I loved that feeling, the calm focus and the smell of books. At 4 p.m., I had my final class of the day, academic writing. The teacher was very enthusiastic and talked about how important it is to express ideas clearly. We learned about essay structures, topic sentences, and transitions. She gave us a small writing task, and I enjoyed thinking through my sentences and choosing the right words. It reminded me of how much I enjoy writing when I have the time. By the end of the day, I was tired but also very happy. It felt like I had already learned so much in just one day. I said goodbye to Emily and promised to meet her the next morning. On my way home, I thought about the classes, the people I met, and the goals I wanted to achieve. I knew university would be hard work, but I was ready for the challenge. When I got home, I changed into comfortable clothes and had dinner with my family. I told them all about my day, and they listened with smiles. My mom was especially proud. After dinner, I went to my room, organized my notes, and prepared my backpack for the next day. I made a to-do list and checked my schedule again. It is around 10:30 p.m. when I finally got into bed. I set my alarm for 6:30 a.m. and turned off the lights. My mind was full of new ideas, new people, and the excitement of being a university student. I smiled to myself and whispered, "I did it." Then I slowly drifted off to sleep, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. The next morning started early. My alarm rang at 6:30 a.m., just as planned. I opened my eyes slowly, stretched, and reached for my phone to turn off the sound. The sky was still a little dark, but I could hear the birds singing outside. I got out of bed and headed to the bathroom to brush my teeth and take a quick shower. The water helped me wake up and feel fresh. After that, I put on a simple outfit: jeans, a soft sweater, and sneakers. It's important to feel comfortable during long days at university. Downstairs, my mom had made breakfast. There were eggs, toast, and a glass of orange juice on the table. I thanked her and sat down to eat while going over my schedule for the day. I had 2 classes in the morning and 1 lab session in the afternoon. I packed my books, notebooks, pens, and a small snack in my backpack and left the house at 7:30. The air was cool, and I enjoyed walking to the bus stop. The streets were getting busy as people rushed to work and school. When I arrived at the university, the atmosphere was full of energy. Students were everywhere, some sitting on benches, others rushing to class. My first class was sociology, a subject I hadn't studied before. The lecture was about human behavior and social structures. I found it fascinating how society influences the way people think and act. I took detailed notes and tried to understand each point the professor explained. After the class, I met Emily outside the building. We talked about our mornings and walked together to our next session: group communication. It was a smaller class, and the teacher asked us to form groups and practice role play. I was nervous at first because I wasn't confident speaking in front of others. But once we started, I felt better. My group was supportive and friendly. We had to simulate a meeting and come to a decision together. It taught me how important listening and clear communication are. During lunch, we sat outside because the weather was nice. The sun was warm, and there was a gentle breeze. I had a turkey sandwich and an apple while Emily told me a funny story about her morning. We laughed a lot, and I felt relaxed. Making friends at university really helps you feel less alone. I was thankful for the people I'd met so far. In the afternoon, I went to my biology lab again. This time we were learning about DNA. The professor gave a short explanation, and then we used special tools to extract DNA from strawberries. I couldn't believe it. We actually saw the white, cloudy strands of DNA. It was incredible. Jason, my lab partner, seemed impressed too, and we had a good conversation for the first time. He told me he wanted to become a doctor. I shared that I wasn't sure about my future yet, but I was interested in psychology and education. After the lab, I went to the student lounge for a short rest. The room had sofas, vending machines, and quiet corners. I sat down with a book and read for half an hour. Reading in a peaceful space helped me recharge. I checked my phone and saw messages from my family asking how my day was going. I replied with a smile and sent them a photo of the strawberries from the lab. Before heading home, I stopped by the academic office to ask about joining a student club. I had seen posters about the debate club, the drama club, and the international student group. The woman at the desk gave me some flyers and said I could attend a trial session. I liked the idea of joining a club to meet more people and try something new. It would also help improve my speaking skills and build confidence. I finally got home around 5 p.m. I was tired, but in a good way. My legs were a little sore from walking, and my backpack felt heavier than usual, but my heart was full. I changed into comfortable clothes and helped my mom set the table for dinner. We talked about our days, and I shared what I learned in the lab. My younger brother was curious about DNA, so I showed him pictures and explained as simply as I could. After dinner, I took some time to review my notes and start an assignment for sociology. I made a list of terms and definitions and created flashcards to study later. I love using colors and drawings to help me memorize better. Then, I planned out my tasks for the next day and organized my workspace. Later in the evening, I video called Emily. We talked about the group communication class and helped each other with some of the questions the professor had given us. It felt great to study with someone, even if we were not in the same room. We laughed, encouraged each other, and promised to meet again tomorrow. At 10:30 p.m., I brushed my teeth, prepared my clothes for the next day, and crawled into bed. I turned off the lights and looked at the ceiling for a while, thinking about how much I'd grown in just a few days. University life was becoming more familiar, more exciting, and more meaningful each day. The next day brought a surprise. Our sociology professor announced a group project that would last for 2 weeks. We had to choose a topic related to social behavior and prepare both a written report and a presentation. My group included Emily, Jason, and a quiet student named Lila. At first, we weren't sure what to choose, but after some discussion, we decided to study how social media affects student relationships and communication. Everyone seemed interested, and we made a list of tasks. I volunteered to collect data by creating a short survey. Jason offered to handle the report formatting. Emily said she would create the presentation slides, and Lila agreed to help with research. That evening, I worked on designing the survey using simple language and clear questions. I sent it to my classmates through our university student group chat and asked them to respond within 3 days. I was surprised at how many people replied so quickly. It felt amazing to see real data coming in for something we were creating from scratch. I organized the responses into a spreadsheet and noticed some interesting patterns. Many students said that social media both helped and hurt their communication. Some felt more connected but also more distracted and anxious. The next few days were a mix of regular classes, project meetings, and personal study. In psychology class, we learned about memory and how it works. The professor explained different types of memory: short-term, long-term, and working memory. She used funny examples that made us laugh and remember better. I liked how she related complex ideas to our everyday experiences. For example, she said that forgetting where you put your keys is short-term memory failure, and that studying with breaks helps move information into long-term memory. In the afternoon, we had another biology lab. This time, we observed plant cells under a microscope. I was fascinated to see the green structures called chloroplasts. It's one thing to read about cells in a textbook, but seeing them with your own eyes makes it real. Jason and I worked well together, and we shared notes and observations. The lab instructor complimented our teamwork and asked us to present our findings briefly. I spoke for 1 minute in front of the class. My voice was shaky at first, but I finished strong. That tiny speech gave me a little more confidence. In the evening, I met with my group at the library. We sat in a quiet study room and discussed the survey results. Everyone was engaged, and I was proud of how we shared responsibilities. Emily's slides looked amazing. Clear, colorful, and well-organized. Lila had found great sources from academic journals, and Jason had formatted the report beautifully. I presented the data we had collected and highlighted a few surprising answers. We all agreed that our topic was relevant and important to modern student life. On Thursday morning, I had a free hour between classes, so I went to the student cafe and ordered a cappuccino. I sat by the window, watched people walking by, and wrote in my journal. I enjoy reflecting on my experiences because it helps me understand myself better. I wrote about the group project, the job fair, and my small speech in biology. Writing helped me realize that even when I feel nervous or unsure, I'm learning and growing every single day. Later that day, we had a guest speaker in our communication class. She was a former student who now worked for a big tech company. She talked about how communication helped her succeed, not just through emails and presentations, but also through empathy and listening. She shared tips for job interviews, handling stress, and building confidence. Her words stayed with me. I wanted to be like her someday, confident, kind, and successful. That night, I studied for my psychology quiz. I made flashcards, reviewed notes, and explained the topics to myself out loud. I also watched a short video summary online to reinforce the material. I've learned that using different methods, reading, writing, speaking, and watching, helps my brain absorb information better. Before bed, I set an alarm for early morning and prepared my bag with all the essentials. Friday morning came quickly. I felt a bit tired but excited. The psychology quiz was first thing. The questions were challenging but fair. I answered carefully, double-checked my work, and submitted it on time. I felt relieved and satisfied. After class, I treated myself to a warm chocolate muffin and a hot drink. It felt like a small celebration for surviving a busy week. In the afternoon, I had time to work on my sociology report and finalize my notes. I reviewed the project with my group one last time and sent the final file to the professor. We all felt proud. It was more than just a school project. It was proof that we could collaborate, research, and express ourselves clearly. That night, I slept deeply, knowing I had done my best. The weekend began with sunshine and a calm breeze. I decided to sleep in a little longer and then went for a walk around the university gardens. The campus felt different on weekends, quieter, more peaceful, like it was resting too. I walked slowly, listened to music, and let my thoughts wander. I thought about the week I had just completed, the lectures, the labs, the group work, and the quiz. Each day had been full of small lessons, some academic, some personal. I realized I was beginning to feel more confident in myself as a student and as a person. On Saturday afternoon, I called my parents. They were happy to hear my voice and proud of my progress. I told them about the project, the job fair, and my quiz. My mom gave me advice about managing stress, and my dad reminded me to take care of my health. Their words gave me comfort. Even though I lived far away, I felt connected. After the call, I cleaned my dorm room. I organized my desk, changed my bed sheets, and swept the floor. A tidy space helped me feel more focused and relaxed. In the evening, my roommate invited me to a small movie night in the common room. A few students brought snacks, and we all voted on a classic film to watch. We laughed, made popcorn, and shared funny stories. It was simple but refreshing. I realized that part of the university experience is not just studying. It's also building friendships, relaxing, and enjoying the moment. That night, I went to bed feeling warm and grateful. Sunday was my planning day. I reviewed my calendar, listed upcoming assignments, and made a schedule for the next week. I liked using colored pens and sticky notes to make my planner fun and easy to follow. I set clear goals: finish my history essay, prepare for a chemistry lab, and join a study group for economics. I also set a personal goal: to speak up at least once in every class. I wanted to practice expressing my ideas more confidently. After lunch, I went to the library to read for my literature class. We were studying a novel that explored the lives of young adults in a changing world. I found a cozy corner and read slowly, underlining phrases that felt powerful. The characters reminded me of myself and my friends, searching, struggling, learning. Reading fiction helped me see the world from different perspectives and inspired me to write more in my journal. Later that evening, I joined an online language exchange group. I spoke with a student from Japan who wanted to improve her English. In return, she taught me a few phrases in Japanese. We laughed about pronunciation mistakes and helped each other with vocabulary. It felt amazing to connect across cultures. University wasn't just about textbooks. It was a gateway to the world. That night, I cooked a simple pasta dinner in the dorm kitchen. I chopped vegetables, played music on my phone, and enjoyed the rhythm of preparing a meal. A few other students were cooking too, and we shared tips and tasted each other's food. One student from Italy taught me how to make garlic toast the authentic way. We talked about our hometowns, favorite recipes, and weekend plans. The kitchen felt like a little home. As I sat at my desk later, reviewing flashcards and sipping tea, I felt calm. My room was quiet except for the hum of my laptop and the soft sounds of the night outside. I opened my journal and wrote about the balance I was finding between work and rest, solitude and community, growth and acceptance. I was proud of myself. I was showing up, doing the work, and learning with intention. Before going to bed, I prepared my bag for Monday. I packed my books, pens, water bottle, and a snack. I laid out my clothes and set my alarm. As I crawled into bed, I smiled at the ceiling and whispered a small thank you for this opportunity, this journey, this life. University was not always easy, but it was meaningful. Every class, every project, every conversation was shaping who I was becoming. And that is what studying at university truly means. Not just passing exams, but discovering who you are, who you want to be, and what you can offer to the world.